A slow haunting melody tears into the crypt's morning air as the soft light of the dawn pierces the skies over Lekuchule village in Laisamis, Marsabit County. It is an important date for the Rendile, a community in northern Kenya. It is the initiation year, known here as Gumad, where once every 14 years, the community's boys take the important step into manhood. Between 16th and 27th of February 2021, a total of 9,000 initiates took part in the special ceremony locally known as Handi to mark their rite of passage. At the center of this ceremony is circumcision. This ceremony takes place inside a specially built shed. There is much ado about it, and a while of activity preceding the cut, including this elaborate routine where the will-be Morans drive out all cows and camels from their enclosures. The objective is to frighten them into a frantic stampede. An unabashed celebration of masculinity. Their father's camel enclosures is the setting for the circumcision rite. They are first sprinkled with water sourced from the mountain springs. In these torrid lands, springs are few and far between. The initiates thus have to take on the other's task of finding them. Clean shaved and stripped of all ornaments, they will only walk into the enclosure with a piece of cloth made from a goat skin. It is twisted into a rope and tied around their waist during the operation. One by one, they will face the circumciser's knife. The older ones first, then the younger ones. This ceremony is all about fortitude and grit. To stop them from looking away or flinching, the initiates are held in place from behind by each leg. Their heads are also firmly lowered so that they can see each strike of the circumciser's knife. The handi is an important part of the Rendile's cultural heritage.
Every 14-15 years, Rendiles and Samburu communities will have a new generation of warriors. And many communities are now circumcising their boys to start off the new generation.
Sasa nisikia poa sababu kila siku kila mtu anastuka sababu naogopa kimila yetu hataki kijana atoreke kwa nini. Lakini furaha leo ni kubwa sana kwa sababu kila mtu sasa roho yake ni safi. Chondi. Kila mtu roho yake ni safi sababu vijana ametayarisha na kila mtu, hakuna mtu ametoroka, hakuna.
Sukusi kama ametayarisha hakuna haja ya kukula kwa mkono yangu. Kama naenda tena kufanya harusi nyingine, wafulana naenda sasa kutoroka kwa ndani ya kina mama, anatafutia chakula alafu naenda kupikia huko. Hawa peke yao. Hawezi kula hapa.
Age sets are very important for the tribe. The boys not only graduate together, but they also forge strong bonds. The ceremonies are a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the boys.
Iko sheria mesi kama hii, kama sio mesi hakuna mesi ingine, lakini wakati ingine sheria shule itaenda kiingia hii mesi, hata kama kiingia itafanya tu. Unajua hii kitu itaisha na masomo hishi, mtu kichelewa form 4 tu peke yake ndio kasoro. Sisi hawezi washa, hata kama nini naendelea sisi tafanya tu. Hata kama unaona sasa inji ni jilali imekuwa basi, kikuwa hakuna namna, atafanya tu. Sio ati kitu angongojea mvua nyeshe ama kitu angongojea mtu mwingine, hata kama ni jilali kiasi gani sisi tafanya tu.
Women are not allowed near the initiates, but Tito Nampere, a mother of 7 children, is forced to care for her 2 boys who had just undergone the cut. She is her late husband's 3rd wife. The weight of burden on her shoulders wears her down. Ordinarily, it is a father's duty to prepare his sons for the initiation, but their father died in 2019. It is now fallen on her to care for their 2 sons for 2 months until their graduation to the Morans. Her young Morans are now her protectors.
Kama metayarishwa na shukuru Mwenyezi Mungu. Hakuna mtu nakuja kudarau mimi kupika ndani ya nyumba. Na kama bado tayarishwa na darau mimi. Sababu hawa ni laioni, hakuna nguvu, hakuna chochote, lakini sasa ni mreni. Hakuna mtu unatembelea mimi ovyo anakimbia, anapika mimi, hakuna. Anagoba tu mimi kwa sababu anaona mimi niko na wareni.
But much like other aspects of their culture, this ceremony is slowly being eroded as time changes. Some now prefer clinical circumcision to the traditional ceremony.
Kwanza kabisa si rahisi. It needs a lot of commitment, courage, and then you should be careful again because you are handling a human being.
It takes less than a minute to operate on each individual. Observing hygiene is paramount.
Every parent anahitaji mtoto wake ahandliwe very fast because it is so painful. So sahi wanafurahia that sisi kama health officers tunafanya hiyo kazi because at the end of that period tunasunguka, tuna manage pain, tuna manage bleeding, so wanafurahia hiyo kabisa.
But it is not just the preference for hospital procedures that is corroding their way of life. Traditionally, the Rendile, like other pastoralists, have used land communally, but much of their ancestral land has been lost to big projects such as the 110 acres Lake Turkana Wind Power Project and the proposed military camp that is expected to take up another 123,000 acres. And as such, the community's hallowed site associated with ceremony have been disturbed. Much of natural resources, such as natural gum and sticks that the initiates used to make bows and arrows, have also been destroyed. Some of the community's customs have also been eroded by their close interaction with the Samburu community. The community has now adopted Samburu age set names. Previously, the Rendile had only about 7 age sets with fixed names that will be used within a 100-year cycle. Both the Samburu and Rendile's community share a dress code and have similar and elaborate initiation ceremonies. The only thing that sets Rendile apart is the Galgulame, a ceremony held 2 years after circumcision. While for this community, it is all about festivities, this year's initiation ceremony coincides with the reopening of schools after COVID-19 forced them to close for months. This now upsets years of efforts to get children back to school and worsens existing inequalities for learners who are already fettered to the fringes of the education system.
Ya wakati ule shule ilifunguliwa, wachache walienda, wale ambao walikuwa nyumbani. Unajua sasa miezi 10 ni muda mrefu sana. So watoto wale ambao walikuwa shule walienda kusaidia wazazi kwa malisho sehemu mbali kama Achas na nini. So baada ya shule kufunguliwa walirudi na serikali ilichukua muda kidogo kwa sababu wengi walikuwa mbali wanafunzi ya. So kusettle ilikuwa inachukua muda.
Over 107,000 students have dropped out of school since they closed due to COVID-19. There are fears that the number could rise owing to the ceaseless cycle of insecurity and drought. And now, the decades-old rite of passage are piling on the pressure for this community. According to the Frontier Counties Development Council, close to 1.3 million school-going children in the country's northern frontier counties of Garissa, Isiolo, Lamu, Mandera, Marsabit, Tana River, and Wajir are out of school. At least 93,000 learners in Marsabit County failed to report back when schools reopen and as directed by the government.
310.
And as the government focuses on tracing the young pregnant girls forced out of the school during the pandemic and into early motherhood, it turns out more boys than girls in pastoralist communities are missing from the classrooms. A number of them are staying away to take part in the traditional rites of passage that now coincides with the school calendar.
Parallel. This one is a parallel.
Now schools here in one of the country's poorest counties face closure. In the vast Laisabi sub-county of Marsabit County, more boys than girls have dropped out of school.
From Laisabi to Loyangalani or the rest, you find that the population of girls is twice the boys now. In a class, you find that there are 10 boys and 20 girls. The initiative have been taken to advocate for the girl child. So we are putting our boy child at risk. The boy child is at risk and nobody is addressing. It's a silent death in most of our schools. Although when you go to secondary school, the few boys transit to primary school, to secondary school, and the girls, you find that they are nowhere. They are married.
This traditional ceremony has mostly affected boys in the upper classes.
Culture is what makes people, and people are the ones who make culture. To change a culture, it takes time. It takes time. It's gradual.
Hii ni ceremony ambayo haiwezi songeshwa nyuma, manake sasa hawa vijana wanatoka sasa kutoka utotoni wanaingia kwa urani. Sasa hawa ndio watakuwa wale wanakinga jamii. Hawa ndio watakuwa warani.
Sisi kama walimu ama hata viongozi wa hii area hatuna control ya vitu kama hizo. Ni vitu ambayo inaendelea nje, lakini definitely ina affect, inadhuru mashule zetu ama kalenda ya masomo. Inachukua list 3 months ama hata zaidi, kwa sababu kuna kuhama kwenda hiyo temporary settlement, kuna hiyo mwezi ya kutairi na kuna ile mwezi ya kupona na kuoga na kutupa ngozi. Kuna ngozi vijana wanavaa. So hiyo itachukua muda mrefu sana. Tutakuwa lose almost half ama hata zaidi ya half ya population ya watoto wale wataenda kwa hiyo kitendo.
Most politicians, they are embarking on those rhetoric. You will see, Mama, get it from me. When the result, they are now doing the exam. They are to do this exam within this month. And when the results are out, you will see the politician will come up and say our people are targeted because of cheating, because of rigging, because of all these kinds of things. We are yet to see that one. You will see.
Schools here, like the Guram Primary School, face an attendance dilemma. A number of learners have stayed away and have now fallen behind as the rest of the country prepares for the national examinations.
The youth in Marsabit now, who are undergoing culture, they are at crossroad. They are at crossroad. On the other side, culture wants them to do this. On the other side, the government wants them to do this. So they are at crossroad. Which one do we follow and which one do we abandon?
But I believe with a close partnership of all the stakeholders and in partnership with the elders and the communities, we can still return these learners to school.
And what the community could have done is to take advantage. They could have taken the advantage of COVID-19, okay, and do this. But they're saying they are following the month, specific month. But there's no harm, even doing circumcision any other time. Like me, my boys, I circumcised them during that period of COVID-19, December. And they went to school. And they're going to be age-mates like the rest who are going to do it. Why don't they do during the holiday?
Before the COVID-19 pandemic, Guram Primary School had a total of 305 learners. But only 285 learners reported back in January after 9 months of being away. Now, there are just 99 of them left. The rest, a majority of them boys, left to attend the traditional ceremony. But it is not just the boys who have dropped off. The girls too have gone missing. Some of them are pregnant. In the third week after schools reopen, only a third, that is, 30 out of a total of 90 learners, reported back to Lekuchula Primary School. The school was closed days later as the ceremony began. The weight of the absence is also wearing down the Lysamis Primary School. Before the pandemic struck, the school had 522 learners. Only 502 reported back in January. A few days later, another 67 dropped out to attend the circumcision ceremony. The girls also went missing to help herd their family's livestock, since the boys are undergoing the cut. At the Laisami Secondary School, the school term got off to a limping start. Before the pandemic, it had 211 students. That number dropped to 180 in January. Now, the school population stands at just 113 learners after 67 students went for the cut. The school is now eerily deserted. 34 candidates were preparing for the national exams. 10 left to join the ceremony. Now, the county fears there will be mass failures should the learners make it back in time for the national exams. But the bigger fear is that many of them may never come back to school.
Our greatest fear ni bengine time lost tu, lakini kurudi watoto watarudi. because hata tuko na wale wanafanya mitihani, wale wa 8, tuko na wale wa grade 4 hata wamekuwa registered tayari. So ile fear ya kwenda kutailiwa alafu wapotee wakuwe mrani watoboe masikio na nini, hatuna hiyo fear.
Wakati nyakati yetu kuna marafiki zangu wengi waliweza kupotelea hapa tu. Waliweza tu kupotelea urani, wakaonelea pengine kwa sababu rika sasa hawa ndio wamekuwa warriors of the community, wakapotelea sasa wakasahau shule. Wengine baadaye walikuja kukuta wale waliweza kurudi, walijikuta baadaye tayari washafanya kosa. So hiyo ni kweli, kuna wale baada ya kusakamsaisiwa hapa watakosa kurudi shule. Hiyo ni kweli.
The situation is now having a domino effect. Some of the girls have lost interest in school. Others are forced to stay home to look after their families' herds. For a community fiercely proud of its age-old ways, change is a difficult subject.
We can bring those schools closer to those people by making a mobile examination center. This can help them because you cannot lock them out that wacha waende na hiyo utamaduni wao. No. The government must come up with an initiative of making this examination center to be mobile, closer to the people.
As part of the COVID-19 response plan, the Ministry of Education proposed to enforce the implementation of the guidelines on re-entry into schools for learners who may have dropped out. This hopes to give these learners another chance and reduce the barriers that hinder their re-entry into school.
You cannot say, no, this culture is barbaric, outdated, outrageous. No, don't come with that. You will have so many resistance. But you embrace theirs first to put them on board and convince their mind. Your culture is very important. And we value your culture.
Mamo Ali, NTV.
Yes,